What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. We are here now for part 2 of our Prince Abdullah interview. We are again very gratefully sponsored by High Point Access Limited. They are Sheffield's leading roof scaffolding access, roofing repairs and roofline for over 30 years. Thank you again for their support. This is part 2 of our Prince Abdullah interview, and hopefully it answers some of the remaining questions that we've got on the club. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. It's been a huge opportunity for us, and I want to thank Prince Abdullah again for his time. It's very much appreciated. And let's get to it, part 2. This is a bit of a speculative question, Prince Abdullah, but there's been rumours that he's not overly having the best of times in Marseille and maybe a return to the club. Is that something that has any possibility of being on the cards at all?
Look, you know that you cannot ever comment about players and other teams, but trust me, we think about everything. We discuss everything.
Okay. So we're not putting that to bed at all. That's fine. I thought I'd give you that chance.
I'm not saying yes or no. Okay. I'm just saying use your imagination.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I will. I think others will as well. We shall see. That's good. Thank you. So moving on to Chris Wilder then. How easy was it or difficult to negotiate with Chris Wilder about a return?
Okay, look, I always knew, like, if anything were to happen to Paul, Chris would have been my first call. You know, we have a board, and it's an active board, and I have some really good people I consult, like work with me in United World. I trust them. They're good people. When I say good people, I mean it, because I think for me, the thing I always... Like I had some successes in the past and some failures, but the thing that I don't compromise is you always have to surround yourself with good people. Good people, like, who are better than you, maybe like better than you, smarter than you, have more like different experiences than you, like not, and who can say no, who can disagree with you. Because if you want people who agrees with you all the time, I don't think you will go anywhere. And we had a discussion, like, some of them wanted to keep Paul because they thought that Paul, like, we will be relegated anyway, for them at least. And so we know that what we have with Paul, that we know, and we will get bounced quickly. Some of them said we have to completely change course, that we have to go, like, every club now in the Premier League is going, like, you know, like different tactics, different way to play. And we cannot be I'm not talking about my opinion, because you know my opinion. They thought that we have to go, like, for like quote unquote modern football, modern way of managing the club, and people who and that include me, that I thought that Chris is the best guy for the job, and even if we get relegated, the best guy to bounce back. And some of the board also, and people that we consulted, they were affected by our old experiences with Chris. And I told them, no, Chris is a better manager. Like, and I even said that before I hired him, right? I don't know. I remember I said that I believe Chris now is a better man, a better manager than before, because when you go through ups and downs, it makes you better, especially if you're a good manager. And for me, I really truly believe in Chris. I believe in his ability, and I really believe that he is now a better manager than the one that got us promoted from League One to Championship, and from Championship to the Premier League. And I think the next 1.5 years will prove to all, like, doubters that we made the right decision.
Was there anybody else ever considered?
Not for me.
I think you've just sort of answered the next question, which was going to be, because there was some rumours that it was a deal to the end of the season with Chris. I think it's widely circulated that it's an 18-month contract. Is there any option to extend that if things go well?
Yeah, look, 18 months. If we in the Premier League, if we don't get relegated, I think. What do you think? Should we give him a longer contract or not?
10 years for me. 10 years, that'll be fine. So
let's go just for the worst case scenario, and we relegated. If we are promoted, do you think we should give him a new contract or not? Do you think that he will want to stay or not? I think it's very obvious. I don't think there should be any questions about that, really.
I think you're right in what you touch on in terms of a lot of our brilliant players from the last few years are getting older, and there will be a rebuild that's needed of this squad at some stage. And to have a longer term vision, I appreciate the club's for sale, and new ownership may have different ideas. But if we're focusing on the future of Sheffield United, surely we need a man in place that can set those plans off and start rebuilding their own vision. And if we believe Chris is the man to help us bounce back, and we'll come on to a transfer budget shortly, then surely we let him build rather than just he'll have a year left, obviously, at that stage.
No,
so
well, of course, now it's like it's becoming like it depends. Like, look, you the way, like, if you ask me the questions now, are you happy with the team since Chris has been appointed? My question is yes. If we keep performing, like, of course we had some better than other performances, but
Yeah.
I've been in football for like 40 years, and I see good signs, and I see that we're going in the right direction. If you ask me this question in 6 months, not in 18 months, yeah, I think I see that Chris will be with us for a long time. But you know, like, football changes like quickly, and I don't like to give like you know, like bold, empty statements. But like, if you ask me now, I really believe that Chris is the right man, not only for the next 18 months, but even beyond. Us and Chris, we have like a major work to do. And by the way, I think we've accomplished our goal of like having 3 or 4 starters, like new players. I really think that we did that. I don't want to go through names, but if you look at the players the new players we bought, and don't forget also the very unfortunate injury that Dave has had, because I really think that he would have been big part of the team, but he's coming back hopefully in few weeks. So I really think that now we will have 4 or 5 players that will be like starters next year. So that's half of the team we managed to renew.
Rosie just wants to say thank you for bringing Chris back to the club, because he's now looking forward to games again. The next question I'm going to ask you is, we're shifting gears a little bit, Prince Abdullah, and Dave J asks about communications from the club. There's been a little bit of criticism about how, not just in terms of the change of manager, but things are sometimes handled by the club on social media and things of that nature. You recently went on TalkSport and spoke to Jim White and Simon Jordan and confirmed that we were about to make a change. Paul would be leaving the club and Chris would be coming in. So I just wanted to get your opinion on how that's perceived and your take on that.
It was after the Burnley game. We decided to have I always like religiously avoid making decisions after a bad defeat. I think I always give myself 24 hours to calm down, to speak. I don't like, even like, I think you know, and we have some WhatsApps, and I really hate when somebody send me WhatsApp after a defeat, because I want to be alone. I just want to be left alone. So we had a board the next day, and we decided to make that change. We told Paul, we told Chris. So both of them knew. And so I asked the club, when do you think we will make announcement? And they said that we're finishing paperwork with lawyers. It will be tonight. The guy from TalkSport talked to me. We recorded that interview, and I sent him a WhatsApp immediately after that, or message. I sent him a message. I told him, please don't post today, because I thought we will be in the safe, it will be announced at night. So anyway, it didn't for some reason, it didn't finish the same night, and it was announced before the club announced it. So anyway, but this is one thing I don't like about some of the fans. And what did both managers knew? Why, like, some people are fascinating for like picking up mistakes, even if it doesn't like do anything in the big picture. Like, you may make 100 good decisions and you make 5 mistakes, and people like to pick up the mistakes and like cry about them. For me, what's the big deal?
You're right though. Both individuals who it involved were fully aware of what was happening. So whether the club announces it first, it can't be much more official than the owner of the club announcing it, whether that's on TalkSport or anything else. So I don't understand why it necessarily has to go through a process. I understand,
but ask me, Jimmy. I wanted it to go through the club, and I asked TalkSport to delay it for 24 hours, and they did. But for some reason, we did not finish with the lawyers. Like for the the paperwork wasn't finished.
Transfers, a big talking point now, and plans may have changed just recently. We're now halfway through the season, and things aren't going our way as a club, and we have to sort of, like you've said previously, hope for the best but prepare for the worst. And High Point Access Limited asks, is there going to be any budget for Chris in January? You've already touched on that a little bit, saying that whatever we do spend in January, we'll have to consider if we are relegated. But do we need to sell players, asked Jordan, before we can buy in January? Or is there going to be money to spend up front, just considering that we may have to sell in the future?
As it stands right now, we will be bringing some players in January, even if we don't sell anybody. But say that we get big offer for one of our players, we then it will be a tough decision, depending who is the players. But of course, then immediately we have to buy. Like say that we sell one of our players, we will buy 2 or 3 maybe younger good players in that position to make us stronger this season and next season. So it will. I mean, I really trust the people around me. I trust Chris. I trust the people who have a say in this, and will always make the best decisions for the club.
I remember just in the COVID season where things were really bad, as we all know, and in January we all sort of knew that we were going to be relegated that season because of the terrible performance, for whatever reasons people may choose to go with. But that transfer window, it was decided that because of our situation, we weren't going to spend a lot of money in January. I don't think we made a signing that January, and we just chose to regroup in the summer. As we approach January now, we're at the bottom of the Premier League table, and we want to say with everything we have that we've got a possibility of surviving, but we are preparing potentially for being relegated. Do you see some merit? And we won't talk about individuals, but I would just say as a fan, if we choose, for instance, to say we need a new goalkeeper and Wes won't be renewed in the summer and Adam Davis might not be renewed in the summer, do you see any merit to signing a goalkeeper in January to see if we can establish them in the team? Or do we think that's a move that we make in the summer when we're having a complete rejig of the squad?
Jimmy, you know that I'm not just a fan or a reporter who can speak their mind freely. I respect, I value all our players. But trust me that in every discussion we have, and we have like 1 week Zoom call with all related people, especially in December, with Chris involved, and we talk about all scenarios, about all players, about Premier League, about Championship. No stones. We look everywhere. We discuss every scenario. But I cannot comment on individual players. It will be wrong for me to do that.
I wouldn't expect you to. It was more a case of if we know that in any position we are looking at going in a different direction to an existing player. Is there any merit to bringing in a replacement now in January to try and get them into the squad? So if we are promoted in 18 months' time, if that's what happens, then we'll know whether that player is going to have a chance at Premier League level, and there might not be need to replace them again.
I will answer in general. When you talk about players you have, about renewal or not, you look at many things. You look at age. Not to say that you, like, if the player is old, you don't renew him. One of our best, like the players I love and respect the most, Basham. I mean, Basham for me is one, like a few players you can call Mr. Sheffield United.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Everything about the city, everything about our DNA is Basham. By the way, I WhatsApp with him many times after his injury, and I hope he's doing well. And I will be, like, the first time I'm in the UK, I would like to go and visit him in his home or wherever he is. Back to age, you consider age, you consider injury record, because for me, say that like I pay a player for by the way, and there is another myth, but this one I gave up. I will never. It will always be a myth. The salary of players that we don't pay more than 35,000. I heard your last podcast, and one of your guests said that we pay. Oh my God! I mean, he couldn't be more wrong. I think Berga was like almost paid double of that, maybe double or a bit less. So please don't give me this like we're only paying 35,000 a week. But let's go back to the injury record, because like it's the Americans have very good saying that I really believe the best ability is availability, because we look at that also. We look at like replacement coming from the academy. Like is in that position, do we have somebody young coming up? Because like the decision not to renew Sharp, it was very difficult one, because Sharp is also Mr. Sheffield United. But you have to look at like playing time for Asula and for Jefferson and for Traore and for like all these things factor, because of young players see no path of playing in the first team, they will not want to renew. So we take no decision like it's not like we have a player and we forgot how to renew him. And we go through every player like thoroughly, and we put all the risks, and of course sometimes it works in your favor and sometimes it doesn't.
You touched on something there, which I was going to ask you anyway. Dave Leary put a question forward. I think Paul was quite vocal on wanting to keep 4 out of contract players last season. It was Billy Sharp, Ender Stevens, Ben Osborne, and John Fleck. So
I'm not sure about Ender Stevens. I don't remember, but I'm not sure. But
okay,
I'm sure it was Fleck. I'm sure about Sharp. Who else you said?
Ben Osborne.
Ben Osborne. But Ben Osborne also, I wanted to keep him.
When Paul comes to you and he says, I'd like to keep these players, and we obviously chose not to renew Billy, who makes that final decision? And is that going to change now? Because we know historically that Chris likes to have a big say in transfers and contracts. So does Chris coming back into the club change how we operate as a football club, or is he now going to fit into the new way of working, if you like?
You have two types of clubs. The one that the manager like make all these decisions, and that is diminishing with the time. Like you will not find many clubs doing that. Usually it's because the manager always is under the pressure of next game result, and you want to keep it that way. You don't want the manager, like if the manager can think 100% long term or 100% short term.
Yeah.
Of course, no manager like you would like, in my opinion, that the manager think about short term, 80%, like give 80% weight or 75% to short term and 25% to long term. But you are on the board should be the other way around, or the technical director should be the other way around, because the manager is always under the pressure of results, and he will think, some of them will think, who cares about the long term? I'm not going to be there to see it if I get fired. I think if you were to build the club from zero, you'd always want the manager to think about short term, but have somebody else to think about long term, and those things sometimes doesn't match, and you have then to make tough decisions. And that's like for like case study is Sharp. Maybe if you think about this season, Sharp is a big character, and he's needed in the locker room even if he doesn't play. But also, like as a board, you have to think about any of the young players you will sign. He will think that maybe I'll have less minutes. Let me like see my contract out and go play. And I like it that way. I like the manager to think about like the next game, but somebody else think about the long term. And of course, if you have that, you'll have different opinions.
Okay. Are there any concerns about the amount of players we've got out of contracts in the summer?
No, because we're talking with some of them right now, and some of them also it's very difficult situation, because like some of them, if you go to championship, you would want them to stay. Maybe if we say in the Premier League, you think that you have to move like different direction. But I think we and Chris, when it comes to this topic, on the same page. And of course, it's not all up to us. Like I don't want to go through names, but one of the players we've been trying now for 1.5 years to renew him, and he doesn't want to renew. So some of them It's not up to you.
Are you able to comment on Daniel Jebison and what's happening with him? He was injured for some time. We've not
Yeah,
seen or heard from him.
Jefferson is one of the players we're trying to renew. I think Chris talked to him and talked to his family, and we'll try everything to keep him. He's a good young player, but we'll see what happens.
That's good to know, because I think a lot of fans are under the impression that he may not renew because he didn't see a pathway into the first team and the injury came at an unfortunate time. So to think that there's still a chance he could stay is very good. Do you think we're getting the most out of United World?
Yes, I think so. Like for me, Anel is a United World player. Berga is a United World player. Depends on, like, if you think that we got. I think Berga was essential in us getting promoted last year, and I really think if Berga did not have the injuries he had, he would have been more influential. But I think, yeah, for me, and you know what? I remember one time when we invited Manchester United to Riyadh to play a friendly against my club. My brother was the president, and Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex, and David Gale spent 1 week, 8 days actually, in Saudi, and they came to my home. I met
wow.
Chris. I met Sir Alex more than one time. Like I used to go at night, watch games with him in the hotel, and it was really great week. And I asked David Gale, what exactly is your job? And he gave me a historical answer, which I really never forgot. He said, my first mission is to prevent players who should not wear Manchester United like shirt to come to the team. That's his first mission. So sometimes, not only like bringing the right players, sometimes preventing the wrong players from joining the club is really important. And I think we made some bad decisions in recruitment in the past just because we only had one voice, and it was the club voice. Let me put it this way. We are now less likely to make mistakes recruiting players.
So looking back at your time at Sheffield United, I think, is it 10 years now, Prince Abdullah, you've been involved with the club?
Yes, 10
Would
years.
you have done anything differently?
Yeah, many things I would have done differently. But you know, life doesn't work that way. Look, if you ask me, do you enjoy? Like now I am almost 60, like approaching 60. So I spent 1/6 of my life with Sheffield United. And if you talk about my adult life, maybe a quarter of my adult life with Sheffield United. You know, the highs with Sheffield United, there is no high like them. And the lows are no, I mean, I don't know. I think suffering is part of our DNA, you think?
Definitely. Yeah.
Not making things easy is in our DNA, but also like honesty, like being proud of the club. The highs are better than any other highs. And if you look at the whole 10 years, if you look at the day that my first day in the club, and if I were to leave the club today, I'm really, really, really proud of what we accomplished. I really think that from the bottom of League One to the Premier League, from the roster we had then to the roster we have now, from the club not owning the ground or Bramall Lane or the academy or the hotel, to these things united with the club for the improvement we made in the facilities, and they are like really something that Stephen will explain in January. I'm really hopeful. Believe it or not, I'm still hopeful we will not be relegated this season. But I am also very hopeful that if we get relegated, we'll be in great position next season. I think if I look at the team and the performances we have really a core young players that we can build around, which we did not have even last season. Like Elman was maybe young and he played we missed, but our team, we have to admit, that was getting old. And I really think that if we don't like renew the team, it would have been the end of the, I don't know, like football, there is no guarantees, but I really believe that we made some good business this like last summer, and I'm sure we will do some good one next summer.
Do you expect us to be busy in January?
I think we will have some players in. I would say 2 or 3 players, but we as I said, we'll always have to balance, even if we don't sell any players, and I don't think we will sell any players. of course, unless we get a very good offer, but for some of our players, but we don't plan to sell any players. So I think we will get 2 or 3, and hopefully they can contribute to the first team. I don't think we need many like bench players. We need some players who can come up and play. Because if you think about it, when some of our injured players come back, and now I'm glad some of them are starting to come back, we will have a good bench. Not like if you compare our bench beginning of the season and now, I think we have some options and we have some decisions to make, and I like that. So if you add another 2 or 3 players, I think we'll have a better team. But as I said, we'll always have to balance what we do this season for what we will be doing in the off season, like next summer.
Prince Abdullah, thank you so much for your time today. I'm conscious I've kept you a long time, and thank you for coming on. It's absolutely fantastic. I just want to ask if you've anything that you want to say in closing to the fans of Sheffield United.
No, I mean we're really in it together. I love how loyal our fans are, and please keep believing. We still have a chance. It's very weird year this year. We're not out of it, and if we can put a streak of good games, win 2 or 3 games, I think we'll be in very good shape. And I still believe that we have good chance of not being relegated. But I believe in the future of the club. I'm very optimistic about the future of the club, not because I'm crazy or no, because I'm realistically, honestly optimistic about the future of the club. And I think if we get relegated, we will be in much better shape than the last time we got relegated. But I really still believe that we will be in the Premier League come this summer, and all of us will be happy, except for one guy who will be more happy because of his love to Archer, which is you, Jimmy.
Thank you for bringing Cameron Archer in. I can't say that.
I'm an Archer guy.
I am an Archer guy, as you know. I don't know whether I should tell this story, and I may cut it out. But I remember I was on holiday when we signed Cameron Archer, and you rang me to say, "I just want to let you know that we've signed your son." Cameron Archer.
Just because of all your messages to me about Archer, I was sick. I mean, I just wanted to keep you quiet.
Did you get my subtle little hints that I wanted us to sign him? I didn't know whether you picked up on it.
Yes, I did. And you know what? I like him as a player, and I think he has a great future. And hopefully, it will be with us.
Oh, hope so. Prince Abdullah, thank you so much for joining us. It's very much appreciated. All the very best for the rest of the season, and we may well catch up in the summer and have another chat. Up the Blades. Ramble on.